Hey guys, welcome back to another Earthen Rangers video. Today's video is going to be a continuation of the edible, medicinal, and survival uses of wild plant series. And we're going to be taking a look at the western sycamore today. That is the tree that is right behind me. It has this grayish white scaly bark, and as you can see, there's really no laws to how this tree grows. This tree is a riparian obligatory species, which means it's going to always grow near water. And because of that, it has to compete under the riparian canopy for sunlight. So it'll send these branches out in weird directions, sometimes parallel to the ground for 30, 40 feet, sometimes more, in order to get those branches out into the sunlight where it can grow its leaves. And this plant is really cool because, again, this plant requires a lot of water. So if you're ever in a survival situation and you're looking for a water source, you can get to high ground and peer out onto the landscape. Once you peer out onto the landscape, if you see these trees with white bark that are growing with this gnarly twist to them, that'll tell you that if you go to that location, there will be water there. So that's a really cool aspect to the western sycamore. Now this tree has two properties. One falls under edible uses and the other under survival uses. The first one we're going to talk about is the sap of this tree. In the spring and summer, the sap of this tree is edible, and it's a super liquidy, mildly sweet, like refreshing summertime drink. It's really, really tasty. What you would do is you'd need to find a wood that's harder than this wood, like hickory, elm, oak. And then you take a little shank or file of that harder wood and at a 90-degree angle nail it into the base of the tree. Now, this isn't something you want to do in a preserve. You always need to get permission first before doing something like this. I always recommend finding someone with private property that has these trees on their property, asking them, and then using that edible property of the tree. Maybe even offer them some of the drink so they can have that experience as well of the tree's sap. I don't like to take any more than a pint of sap, even from the big trees like this one right behind me. You can take more without hurting the tree, but again, we always want to impart that caretaking ethic and never harm the wildlife and the plants out in the area. So I never like to take more than a pint from a big full-grown tree. Once you have your sap, remove that shank. Do not forget to remove that shank or else the tree will bleed out, and then stuff that hole in the tree with pine sap or fir sap. Pine sap and fir sap is naturally antiseptic, antibacterial. It cleans the wound and acts as a sticky stitching for the tree, almost like a natural scab. This will allow the tree to heal and allow that small puncture wound to heal on the tree so that the tree does not lose any more sap and so it does not become infected. In the future, we're going to be doing a video where we harvest sap from a box elder tree, which is in the maple family, and we'll be going through this process in detail. But the other thing that I want to talk about is the leaves of this tree. The leaves are absolutely amazing, and this is actually about medium sized. These leaves can get a lot bigger. This is a leaf of a young sycamore, so it's slightly less lobed than the leaves of mature sycamores. Here's the leaf of a mature sycamore, which is dramatically more lobed than the young ones. So just be aware of that in your identification properties. But what you can do with this plant is you can actually cook in it. You can wrap things like roots, tubers, meats in it, and then put it in your coal bed. And it kind of acts as a protectant when you're cooking, much similar to cooking with foil, so that the food doesn't burn, but it thoroughly cooks. And this is obviously a much better natural alternative than foil. In addition, this adds a delicious flavor to the food, so it acts as a seasoning as well. Some really, really cool properties with the western sycamore. Yeah, it's definitely a tree you got to experience and try out. If anything, just get this tree down for its identification properties, just so if you ever find yourself in that survival scenario, that you can locate bodies of water. Now there is other water techniques which we'll go into in the future, water harvesting techniques. but this is just an awareness technique that'll help you locate water when you're out in the environment. Definitely got to check it out, and especially right now because the leaves are almost full size, and they are absolutely beautiful. It reminds me of some kind of like prehistoric dinosaur leaf. I'll try to pan out here so you get a better view. And this whole canopy up here is all western sycamore. Reminds me of a lightning bolt in how it grows. Just being so twisted and gnarled. Beautiful, beautiful tree. Patrolling along here, and I found one of the bigger leaves, which I wanted to just point out as an example. Again, this leaf is not very lobed because it's on a young shoot that's coming out here. Again, the more mature leaves on the full-grown trees are heavily lobed, but just to compare how big this leaf is, here's my phone right there. So this thing is massive, and you can easily see how you could wrap food up in this leaf and then cook with it. Beautiful leaf, really soft. Also, little secret, but this is kind of nature's double ply Charmin. Really, really soft. Beautiful plant. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me for this newest plant series of the Western Sycamore. As always, stay aware and protect.